Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me tell you something. This feels amazing. These morning sessions, these adjustments to our traditional sessions, which I've been teaching for a while, Monday through Fridays, but now to oh my God, now to have myself join with some of the most amazing people on the planet has been a delight. If you've been enjoying these morning sessions, go ahead and put them in the comment section. If you got the book already, put that in the comment section. Well, today we're joined with another incredible woman. She is none other than Coach Deborah Smith. How are you doing, woman of God?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much.
Listen, man, I love and appreciate you and Deacon Dan so much, and the joy of being able to do life with you both, it's just it speaks volume. You supported tremendously my first book, Effective Living: Creating a Life You Don't Need a Vacation From, and then behold, as soon as the book dropped, I noticed my email says, Coach Deborah got the book. Coach Deborah got the book. I was like, oh my God, she is on top of it. She is on top of it. And then you bless me by saying, hey, here's a picture. I got my book. You were on top of it. So listen, thank you for who you are. Thank you for loving me, for allowing me to walk with you in your season with Build Your Best Life. I get to be on your board and be a guest on your different event platforms and so forth. You're awesome. Welcome back to Effective Living. Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You got the book. You got the book, Coach Deborah. Come on.
Yes. I've got the book, and oh my goodness, you see all my little tabs here on here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Time I got it, I had to wait until I had some time to read it.
Yep.
I sat down and I read like the introduction and the foreword and all of that. And the next time I sat down, I read through the whole book. And y'all got to get this book. It is well written.
Thank you.
It just flows. It is amazing.
Yep.
But I so enjoy this book. And then I had to go back through and I was like, God, I'm gonna have to get another book because I don't like marking in my book, but I gotta mark some things down in here. But it is amazing. This is,
Thank you.
I mean, I won't say it's better than the Effective Living.
Yeah, right.
Living is over the moon, but hey, they are something that you need to have as a unit. You know, it's like family.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go into this because as I read the book, like each chapter, something popped out. But as you were introducing me, I was thinking, wow, he's all up in my brain because you talk about in chapter 3, family, the cornerstone, the overlooked cornerstone. And family to me can be so much more than just that mom and that dad and your brother. You know, I feel like you're part of my family.
Correct.
But as you were talking about it and how important people are in our lives and those type things, tell me a little bit more about that chapter because that was just so intriguing.
You know. Once again, thank you for being a guest today. When you said the books, I was working on this for a little while. I brought a team of people together to help me clean it up and put some real professionalism to it. But I'm a practical guy, you know that. I'm very simple in my view of things. And so it was never going to be a deep book. So for those of you watching, it's never going to be a deep book. It's very easy to flow and read and understand. But that cornerstone one, you've heard me say it with Effective Living, that the whole concept of life is built around community. And that if you're doing life alone, you're doing life wrong. I've been teaching that now lately, that we need people, that we're better together. And so I realized, the statement people say, family is everything. And I started to struggle with that. So I talked about it in the book. The statement family is everything has hurt some people because their siblings have messed them up. There's some people who parents have scarred them. And so they feel as though the whole term family is everything is not true. And I'm like, okay, family is everything. It's just that it may not be a biological family. And it may be that you created family, you created community, you created a tribe, you created a support group. And so anybody who says, I feel like I'm alone, I'm saying that's not the way to go. You may not have biological brothers and sisters that you're dealing with, or parents that you're dealing with, but you can create family. Like you said, I feel like we're family, right? I feel like we're family. And so you can create your family. God has given us the ability to create family. As a matter of fact, there are certain animals in the animal world kingdom where there are, I think it's gorillas, and there are like wolves, where when there is a young one born, the whole tribe takes in that young one. So even if the parents were to be injured and died, they're part of the tribe. So now you're part of the pack, you know? And so you're not alone because, you know, who birthed you went and left and gone or whatever. You're never alone. And so that's the part. And so when people read the book, Coach Deborah, I want people to know you should not do life alone. And I, you know, bless my heart, when it comes to you and us connecting, was when I saw you and Anastasia's relationship. And Anastasia is a Smith, you know?
Right.
She's a Smith, and she's in the Bahamas. And y'all hadn't seen each other for a while, but y'all had engaged virtually and had become a kin-like. So she's more like a daughter to you too, you know? And that just blessed my heart to see that. So you're creating family. I'm creating family. We all can create family. We just need to burn the rule book on the traditional form of family, because there are a lot of people who are mad, Coach Deborah. I'm learning there are a lot of people who are mad at their biological family. And then what they've done is they've dismissed all people.
All people.
They've dismissed all people. Well, you know, I don't talk to my mama. I don't talk to my siblings. My cousins, they're a mess. I just leave all people alone. And then you got some people, church folks. I don't do church folks. And so you can't do life alone if you're going to live life effectively.
Right. Hey, you got to burn the rule book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stop saying, I don't do people. I just don't do people.
Right. Yeah. That's actually a very, very limiting statement. Because watch this, Coach Deborah. Anyone who's praying, God, use me in a mighty way, I want you to know how he's going to use you is attached to people. And the greater desire to be used, or the more significant your thing he's calling you to do, the more people you're going to need.
That's right. Definitely. Yes. Thank you so much for having that in there, because that is something that I know is going to help a lot of people, even if they're listening, but they have to get the book. Yes. Now, another thing I want to ask you about is you talk about in chapter 8, the struggle to break free, because, you know, a lot of times those things that we have on us will give us low self-esteem, make us not want to do people or what have you. But then you have, I'll say, people that you look at them, you say, you don't look like what you've been through. Well, tell us a little bit more about that.
For me, Coach Deborah, I remember when I started the journey, and a few people had to pull me aside and say, you know, you're walking out what you prayed for. You're literally walking out what you prayed for. But the struggle in me did not feel that way, because the battle to become was such a strong battle. Even to this day, I am living the dream. I posted on social media lately, I says, Lord, thank you for blessing me with a life I don't need to take a vacation from. And literally, that's the slogan for the organization. Come on, that's the slogan for the book I've written. And now I can say that. But then I wake up sometimes and I'm still struggling with the whole concept of going the road everyone's traveling, because the narrow path is not easy. The narrow path is not easy. To do it your way, which is God's way, is actually to go the unpopular way, which a lot of us have not been that good at. And I struggle with that. To this day, I'm better than I was. And here's one of the things that I struggle with, Coach Deborah, is that there are people who judge me and don't know how much I'm working on trying to become who God has created me to be.
Wow.
And they don't know that I still struggle with insecurities. They don't know that my deficiencies still, for lack of a better term, haunt me. That I have worries, fears, and concern, but I've learned to not dwell on those things. I've learned to try to fight past those so they don't put me in depression, that they don't make me feel anxiety to the point where I have anxiety attacks and so forth. So I'm fighting the good fight of faith. So I'm grateful for the people who would say, Coach, you're doing a great job, but I'm also praying for you. Because here's what I learned, and I was talking to a client yesterday. No one has it all together. No matter how impressed we are of people, they're all working through something.
It is so true.
And I think, I'm hoping that when people read the book, they create the life they want, understanding that that's what everybody should be doing. But most people settle for the life that we were introduced when we came into the world, the life that our families say it should be, the life that our social circle has embraced. And now we end up at a point later on regretting and say, watch this, Coach Deborah. I got a degree I don't use. I got a pool I don't swim in. I got a convertible car I don't put the top down on. Come on. I got vacation days I don't use.
Right.
Come on, right? I got children I don't laugh with. I got a spouse that I've not enjoyed. Come on, I got money in the bank and don't know where I want to go. And others are looking at you as successful, but you don't even like you.
Wow.
Because they did not. This person, and I did this for a long time, I was running after medals. I was running after awards. I was running after public recognition.
Right.
But inside, there was this void. There was this emptiness. And I'm not having that anymore. I'm moving towards 50. October, I'm turning 50. And I'm like, Lord, help me to learn to live every day to the fullest in a way that you want me to. So the struggle that I had before, may that disappear. And may I continue to fight the good fight of becoming better in every area.
That's good. That's good. I love that. And as you were talking, I thought about a conversation that we had, and it kind of ties into chapter 6 and that whole fun aspect. And when I look at you, I see a person that has fun, and it's not like, he talks that, but is that really him? And I know in the book you said, somebody said, you're faking your life. Well, I know that you're not. What you say, you're transparent, and you do. And in chapter 6, you say, we don't laugh enough.
Yep.
And I'm when I greet people, whether it's in writing, on the phone, or whatever, I'm always, how are you? How was your weekend? How was your day? Yep. And I remember in one of our coaching sessions, I was like, oh, how was you and Karen's weekend? And you were like, hey, it was a day. I enjoy every day. And you said it, and I noticed, and it's like every day.
Yep.
If you're going through something, you'll say, I had a lot to do, but boy, Karen and I might have did this, or Grace and I did this, but you're still gonna find that fun.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that. I love it.
I had to stop and pause for a moment and realize one of the ways we've been conditioned to have fun is, boy, I have my vacation coming up and I'm going to Florida and I'm going to have some fun. Or the husband and I, or the wife and I, or my kids and I are going to, we're going to go to this particular park and we're going to have fun. And people are always pushing fun to a day or to a moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why push fun to a day or a moment? So you got these, thank God it's Friday. I'm going to have a blast this weekend, right? Or it's a 4-day weekend. Ooh, I'm going to have a blast this weekend. Oh my God, Coach Deborah, I'm so excited. My vacation starts in 2 weeks and I'm going to have so much fun. Why are you pushing fun that far? So what I chose to do when I was looking at effective living, when I was married the first time, my ex complained a lot because I was a workaholic, right? And I enjoyed working. I still to this day enjoy working. But the problem was I was postponing fun along the way as well. And then when we went through some difficulties and the relationship was starting to go through some hardship, I started introducing fun because she complained that there was no fun. But when I started introducing fun, I'm like, hold on, why don't I introduce fun into everything? Like, how can I make everything fun? Now, here's the deal. I teach effective living is the life you create.
All right.
Then burning the rule book would have it that you can't live effectively without burning the rule book. Because, you see, somebody needs to write that down. You cannot live effectively without burning the rule book because people say, well, you can't have fun cutting the grass. You can't have fun in traffic. You can't have fun, at night. You can't have fun in this city. You can't. Who says so? Who says so? My Bible teaches us, Coach Deborah, it says, according to your faith, be it done unto you. If you believe that you're going to enjoy all of the process of parenting and grandparenting, or all of the process of you got that home, you're going to enjoy the home. All of the process of your career, you say, listen, I chose this career. Now, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to enjoy this career. I chose this spouse. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to enjoy this spouse. I chose this neighborhood. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to enjoy this neighborhood. Coach Deborah, there's a pond that was across from my house, okay, our last house. Very rarely did I go to the pond, but there were a few times I went over there and I would see different gentlemen, men sitting down by themselves and sometimes with their family. And I go over and, hi, how are you doing? Oh, man, I'm having a great day. I just love being at the pond, throwing out my rod. And I'm telling you, this right here is living. I'm telling you, more than 100 people in the last 3 years have told me this right here is living. Mm-hmm. So what I would say is fun to you may not be fun to me, but you should figure out what fun is.
That's right.
Because some people, listen, somebody asked you, how was your day today? It was perfect. I sat on my porch and read for 3 hours. Undisturbed, didn't look at my phone, didn't turn on the TV. I sat on my porch. I had my lemonade. I had me, some chips and dip. And I just read. And let me tell you something. I'm off this week, and I'm going to do that every day. And I'm having a blast being home. Somebody said, that's not fun. What we have done is we have chosen to allow people to define fun. I'm helping somebody this morning, Coach Deborah. Mm-hmm. Don't let others define fun for you.
That's right.
So create a life where you have figured out what fun is. Because just like our fingerprint is different, our definition of fun may be different. There are some people, they want to go to the Bahamas. They're going to sit on the beach. And they're going to be under a kayak, under one of those umbrellas, and they're going to just be chilling. And they're going to bring them their coconut, and they're going to go back home. And somebody say, how was the Bahamas trip? It was amazing. Did you do parasailing? No. Did you do some jet ski? No. Did you dance all night? No. Did you go to the casino? No. What did you do? I went to the beach every day. Look at those clear crystal blue waters. I read a book, ate coconut, had a Kong salad, had them bring my food to it, and put my foot in the sand a few times. I made a sand castle on the beach. And let me tell you something. That was so much fun for me.
Yes, definitely. I can I agree with that, because when I go on a cruise, I always get the balcony, and if I can just sit out on the balcony and just watch the ocean, I'm in heaven. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then there are others who are like, oh no, I don't want to. Fun has to be defined based on figuring out who you are, and that enriches you in a way that you could say, you know what? It is in the confinement of my calling and the confinement of my biblical standard. So in other words, I don't have to drink to have fun. Come on, I don't have to be vulgar to have fun. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to push the envelope of doing things that culturally is unaccepted to have fun. I can really enjoy life with a self-defined position. You know, there are some people, Coach Deborah, they're cleaning their house, they turn on the music and they open the windows, they get the vacuum, and they're home by themselves. And it's like, oh.
Hey, the best singer in the world when I'm by myself.
I've had those moments. I've had those moments lately where, listen, I'm in the backyard cutting the lawn, okay? I got my music on and I'm going back and forth with the lawnmower. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm having a great time.
Yes, I love that. We just don't laugh enough. We just need more laughter.
Yep.
And I noticed you always talk about your health and, you know, going to the gym, and those people that, you know, they're just trying to throw this outdoing everybody, but you're on a mission of what you're doing. So I don't think people talk about fitness as in their health, and I like that you say health as wealth. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I've lived long enough now. I have seen enough people, Coach Deborah, who have the home, who have the office, the building, the money, that drive the nice car. And you know what? What I see that is equal to everybody, the fear that comes out of their facial expression when an ambulance shows up for them. Or when they're in an emergency room, or where they're in the hospital, you realize, oh my God, I could die. And I'm like, that's a reality for all of us, because we're all going to die. But I'm like, yet, even though everyone fears an ambulance coming to pick them up, or being in an emergency room, or having to deal with some medical issues, we are reckless when it comes to our bodies. You know, we have a 4Runner, my wife and I was taking it to service the other day, and the guy said to me, he said, oh my God, y'all have never missed a service checkup time since she's had this car. And I'm like, if it says get it serviced, we gonna get it serviced. Now, guess what he said? He said, that's how you keep a car for the long haul. Come on, Coach Deborah. He said, that's how you keep a car for the long haul. So in regards to our body, like that of an automobile, if you want to keep it for the long haul, you want to service that bad boy.
Right, yeah, service it.
Right? You want to service it. And every now and again, there is a recall.
Yeah.
Right. Every now and again, but watch this. The thing about recalls, yo, you got to pay attention, because you could miss a recall. You understand what I'm saying? You could, and so you could go in, get some checkup. I was talking to a gentleman, good friend of mine, and he went in and he was doing his regular, but because he was paying attention, a recall, something happened in his body, and even the doctors didn't catch it. But he was looking at the numbers and he said, hey, this don't look right. And he called his doctor and he said, doctor said he's fine. He went and got another opinion. Come to find out he had stage 1 cancer, prostate cancer.
Wow.
He was like, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. And you know, those guys are practicing, you know,
yep.
They can miss it. They can miss it. So you've got to be very responsible with paying attention. And I'm not the best at this. I have this as a message board because I want to be an ambassador in this space, but I struggle with this. I struggle with what I eat. I'm trying to cut out stuff. I'm struggling with my workout regimen, even though I still work out. That's why I believe comparison is not what we should do. When it comes to health and fitness, we should figure out what is right for us.
That's right.
Because there are people who watch me in the gym 5 days a week and say, boy, you got it going on. No, the truth of the matter is there is a lot of deficiencies in how I show up in the gym, how I eat, and my understanding of what's going on in my body. But here's what's my prayer, Coach Deborah. My prayer is no sick days in Jesus' name. My prayer is divine health in Jesus' name. My prayer is, Lord, give me a long life, vibrant and highly engaged for the long haul. For the entire thing, I want to be fully functioning. I met a lady. Her name was Mary Ruth Swope, Dr. Mary Ruth Swope. When I met her, she was 90 years old. She stood up in the front and was speaking to pastors, and she did some jumping jacks. And she said, can I get all the pastors to stand up to do jumping jacks? And but 3 or 4 of them was like, hey, man, I don't do no jumping jacks, right? And she said, you know what? And she started to give some stocks on the health of pastors. Wow. And she said, she's at the time, she said, I stopped drinking sodas in 1979. Like, Jesus Christ, did she say 1979? I was born in 75. But she said, I made adjustments. And now she's 92, 93, around that age when she spoke to us. I was highly impressed. And it was in that moment every year, I said, Lord, help me to learn how to take care of my body. Now, I know there's some people who's like, hey, brother, something's going to take you out. Yeah, I believe that. But here's what I know. We are responsible to do what we can and leave the rest to God. Come on. Come on. We do what we can. Being responsible, effective living demands that you be responsible. Now, Burning the Rulebook says this. Well, all my families eat this. You tell yourself all your family had this sickness for years too. I'm going to burn that rule book. I ain't eating like that no more. You see what I'm saying? Well, Miller, no one in the family exercised like you, because I chosen to remove that particular way of living and establish a healthier way of living. And so that's the concept. The concept is your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Your body is the vehicle God uses to fulfill your assignment. I had a coaching client I met a few months ago. When we started, I said, here's 3 things I need you to do. I need you to walk for about 2.5 miles, 4 or 5 days a week. That wasn't a part of our program, but I've said, listen, when your body gets attacked, it affects your assignment. So I'm telling you, I say, start walking. You don't have to run. I say, start drinking more water. Decline the other beverages, if possible, and go for water. I say, start with that. Start with this. I said, now let's go into what I was called to do in your coaching process. She's like, well, where do those 2 things come from? Your body is the tool God uses to fulfill your assignment. I don't want to get you to the corner office, but you can't get to the corner office because you're in the hospital.
Right. That's right. Can't get there.
And so there are a lot of people who acquired the things they always wanted, but they didn't take care of their body to enjoy it over the long haul. I remember somebody saying to me, because Karen and I, we were out in Vegas, and Coach Deborah, we said, we saw a show. We said, we're going to watch that show. It's at 9 p.m. And let me tell you something. We said, let's go back to the room, we'll fall asleep, and then we're going to wake back up. Listen, we fell asleep. We woke up about 8:30. She looked at me like, you going? I'm like, man, we ain't going nowhere. We went back to sleep. The next day, we was like, hey, we going to go to another show. And my point is, we postpone fun. We postpone taking care of our bodies, but the aging process starts limiting those realities.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yes. So I tell people, don't postpone fun, because you will get, watch this, you get aged out of some things.
That's right.
Yeah, because after a while, you be like, I ain't doing no show at 11 o'clock. I'm in my bed at 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not going to do this activity because my body at this stage don't need me to do nothing that reckless. Mm-hmm. At this age, I will feel it, So once again, when you read the book, the whole concept of taking your body to the next level, defy the odds. Defy the odds. One of the things I'm having to learn, and I'm watching this with my body, is figuring out what I need to know about cancer. What's this? The unreversibles and the subtle attacks. The things that come subtly and the things that are unreversible. And then how can I beat both of them?
Yeah.
Come on. Because here's the deal, Coach Deborah. Somebody is going to beat it.
Yes.
Come on. Hey, someone is going to make it to 100, healthy, thriving, with their right mind and functioning with all of their elements. Somebody. Why not me?
Why not me?
Come on now.
Hey. I'm willing to be the one.
I know, right? So listen, guys, you're watching this morning. Go ahead and put that in the comment. Why not me? Somebody's going to defy the odds and enjoy life to the fullest. Somebody's going to defy the odds and they're going to live long. I love my Rotary Club. I love when I get to sit next to somebody who's 83 years old and still like fully engaged and doing life. I'm like, yes, I love it. I'm praying for you to go to 100 strong, and I want to be following your lead.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Well, now I can't wait to ask this one.
Yeah.
Having to talk about this, but in chapter 9, designing your legacy, writing your obituary today. And it was so interesting that I read that and I was like, wow, that is deep, but that is so relevant. Yep. And then in my morning devotion, it was about, what's his name? Alfred Nobel. And he was the inventor of dynamite, which he invented dynamite as a tool to help. But then they began to use it for harm. And he woke up one morning and he looked at the newspaper and his obituary was in the newspaper. And it was saying that he was like the doctor of death, that he was responsible for so many deaths in his life. And he was like, that's not how I want to be remembered, which he took his wealth. And that's how he started the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow.
But that is, so I can't wait for you to tell me about this one.
I never knew about that. Thank you for sharing that. But that's how I felt. I felt like most people are not choosing how to be remembered. Come on. Hey, most people are not choosing. Coach Deborah, I said, my mom and them gonna have some pictures to pick from for when they gotta do the obituary. They're gonna have so many video clippings. They're gonna have so many. They're gonna try to figure out who can we put on the program to talk, because there will be people everywhere saying, "I want to say something." I mean, like I want to take the time to ensure that the life I live wasn't only while I lived.
All right. Yes.
Right? I want to ensure that the life I live wasn't only while I live. Then I want to ensure that the life I live wasn't just for me. Like Ricardo came into the world and he made a contribution to the world.
To the world. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, one of the significant, most powerful thing I love about Dr. Miles Monroe, he is gone. And every week I meet somebody new who says, "Oh my goodness, you're from the Bahamas." I listen to Miles Monroe every morning. I'm like, pardon me? I listen to Miles Monroe every morning. As a matter of fact, I just ordered his book. He's been gone more now than 10 years now. And I'm meeting new people his life is impacting today. Yeah. Today, I'm meeting people now saying, "You met Miles Monroe? You know Miles Monroe? You knew Miles Monroe?" Then they say, "Man, I just so hate I never got to hear him prior to his passing." In other words, he lived a life well lived. I mean, Dr. King, a life well lived. Even you just talked about the Nobel Peace Prize. He made sure that he was going to make a contribution that will live long after him. And so for me, Coach Deborah, I believe that it's important for us. I'm doing that now. I'm actually moving towards my 50th birthday, where I'm taking the time to write my obituary. How do I want to be remembered? Yes. How do I want to be remembered? And I told Karen some things. I already told her. I said, "Hey, I died today. Take me back to the Bahamas. I want this body get buried in the Bahamas." Okay. And I'm like, "Hey, this is that." Somebody, "Oh my God, don't talk about death." Burn that rule book. What do you mean, don't talk about death? He who fails the plan is planning to fail. You've got to choose to decide how you will be remembered with your children, with your grandchildren, with your career, with the finances you've established and acquired, the property. Coach Deborah, do you know how many people they have passed on? They did not tell their children about the gold Rolex that was in the long box. They didn't tell them about the rental property that they had across the city. They didn't tell them that they had stocks in certain companies. They did a lot while they were living, and they felt successful. But they died, and they did not consider death. Woo, come on. They did not consider death. So if you're watching and you don't have a will, you're doing life wrong. You're doing life wrong. You need a will. You need to make it very clear. There's a book. I mentioned this to a few people. I said, I'll get you this. Minister Carol Crockett suggested the book to Karen and I, and we bought one, and it was, I'm dead, now what? It's like, I'm dead, now what? In other words, what it was, I think that's the term of the book, but what the gist of it was, all my passwords were in there. All of our valuable assets were written down in there. You need to know. You need to know that I have 3 rental properties on this island. You need to know. You know how many people nobody knew? Nobody knew. Nobody knew. You owned it. You didn't tell anybody because you don't want people in your business. Right. You didn't even document it. So now you drive past some stuff in Jacksonville, Coach Deborah, and it is at a freeze, at a standstill. It's just dilapidated now. Yes. And there are family members somewhere who has no clue.
No clue. They don't know.
That's their uncle who had no children. The uncle who had no children had got his degree, had opened his business, had established himself, had bought several properties throughout the city, and he didn't tell nobody. All you just knew he was financially secure. They found him dead. And they thought the house was the only thing and the shop was the only thing.
That's right.
Right? So how will you be remembered? I'm telling you, this book right here is a difference maker. And I made sure it wasn't a big book.
Yes,
I made sure. Hey, Coach Deborah, I know people aren't reading as much as they used to read and how we were accustomed to reading. So I made sure make this book not as big as, I'm like, make it practical. Make it easy to apply. Make it something people can carry. And listen, guys, you got to get a copy. You got to get a copy. So I know. Say it again.
I said that you've got to get a copy.
Yeah. Coach Deborah, I don't know if you've met anybody. I don't like talking about death. I don't like talking about that.
Yes.
I don't like talking about death either, but I had to get past that.
All right.
I had to ask God to help me to unlearn that behavior because death is inevitable.
That's right.
We're going to die. Now, the question is, how will you be remembered? So if I had another 25 years, if I had another 50 years, the truth of the matter is it could be another 50 years. If I had another 50 years, or let's just say another 25 years, what am I going to do with that to ensure that it's not a life where I just live for another 25 years saying I wish I had gotten graduated from high school. I wish I had gotten a degree. I wish I'd spent more time with my grandkids. I wish when I'm on my dying bed. Or I could say, it is finished. I fought a good fight. Come on.
Yes. I love it. Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes. And you are doing that. I love it. One of the things I can say is, I said it earlier, you're a person that you're transparent, you talk the talk, but you also walk the talk, you help others. Hey, you are a legacy, you're leaving a legacy, and it's one that I'm proud to be a family member with you and to follow you and to tell others about you, because you are a person that is genuine. You have so much knowledge. God is imparted so much into you, and you're sharing it with the body. And I love that. So it is up to each one of you out there to get a part of what you can of Ricardo Miller Sr. He's leaving something here that's genuine. And you don't get this every day. You get a lot of people that like to play with your lives and pretend that they're this, but behind the doors, there's something else. He's real. He's real. And I stand up for my coach any day.
Coach Joe, man, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. Guys, listen, man, if you enjoyed this talk this morning, do me a favor and share this. Share it. We want everybody to know. A lot was said that you can actually run with right now. We talked about it. Put it in the comment section. What stood out to you the most? But do me a favor, go to the website. I'm mailing books out this week. I'm mailing books out all this week. And people are going to the website. They're ordering their books. You can only get this book at ricardomiller.com. Okay? You can only get this book. That's intentional. That's going to be that way for a while. And then we're going to do some other things with the book. But get it. And I promise you, it will be a difference maker in your life. Coach Deborah, it's always a joy to have you on. We're going to have to do this more frequent. We're going to have to do this more frequent because, I love what you're doing and I appreciate your message to the earth. Go ahead and tell our viewing audience a little bit about your platform before we go and how people can follow you and some of the things you got going on.
Yes. God has given me a passion for young men. So Build Your Best Life is a nonprofit 501c3, and we encourage and show young men based on our 5 pillars how to overcome the obstacles in their lives and build their best lives. They can do it. Sometimes they go through so much that they give up, throw in the towel. They don't have to do that. So I am equipped and I bring in people that are experts in different areas because I don't know everything, but hey, relationships.
Yeah.
We can connect with those people that have those expertise to help our young men to learn those things that they need to be successful and live an effective life. And as well, we have so many single mothers that are raising sons. So we also encourage those moms. So I love what I do. I have a passion for it. We're on 3 times a week broadcasting, but you can find us more information at www.buildyourbestlife.org. That's www.buildyourbestlife.org. My email address is byblwdsmith. That's Build Your Best Life with D Smith @gmail.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We'd love to have you to come in and check us out. Thank you so much. And
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Coach, for having me today.
Listen, it was a blast. We're going to have to do this again. Guys, once again, please share. If you're watching for the first time on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Tag somebody and says, hey, man, it's time to burn the rule book and it's time to live life effectively. God bless you, Coach Deborah. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.